For the next few centuries, England became a bilingual nation. The ruling elite spoke French, while the common people continued to speak Old English. This period saw the infusion of thousands of French words into English, especially in the realms of law, art, religion, and governance. Words like court, judge, government, and royalty, all of French origin, became integral parts of English. This blending of Germanic and Romance languages gave rise to Middle English, a more fluid and flexible tongue, exemplified in the works of Geoffrey Chaucer, whose Canterbury Tales captures the richness and diversity of English society in the late 14th century. Chaucer's English is recognizable to modern readers, though it still retains a flavor of the old. It was a language in transition, with a vocabulary expanding rapidly, and a grammar that was becoming simpler and more streamlined. A gradual change in pronunciation that occurred between the 14th and 18th centuries further pushed English toward its modern form. The Renaissance, beginning in the 15th century, was a time of intellectual rebirth and exploration, and the English language was not immune to its influence. The invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg in the 1440s made books more accessible, and English literature began to flourish. The works of William Shakespeare, perhaps the most famous figure in the history of the English language, showcased the incredible flexibility and expressiveness of English. Shakespeare alone is credited with coining over 700 words, many of which are still in use today. Words like assassination, bedroom, and lonely. The Renaissance also brought a flood of Latin and Greek vocabulary into English, as scholars sought to translate the classical texts that were being rediscovered. This influx of new words enriched English, giving it a depth and precision that allowed for the expression of complex ideas and emotions. By the time of the King James Bible in 1611, English had evolved into early modern English, a language that, while different from what we speak today, is still largely comprehensible to modern readers. The Bible itself, with its majestic and poetic language, had a profound impact on English, shaping not just religious thought, but also the idioms and phrases of everyday speech. The next phase in the history of English was driven by the forces of exploration, trade, and colonization. As the British Empire expanded across the globe, English went with it, establishing itself as a global language. In the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean, English mixed with local languages, producing new dialects and creoles. In India, English became the language of administration and education, blending with Hindi and other local languages to create what we now call Indian English. In North America, English encountered the languages of Native Americans, as well as the French and Spanish of other colonizers. The result was the development of American English, a distinct dialect with its own vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. Words like canoe, moose, and skunk were borrowed from indigenous languages, while the influence of African languages, brought over by enslaved people, contributed to the development of African American Vernacular English, AAVE. In the 20th and 21st centuries, English solidified its position as a global lingua franca. The rise of the United States as a world power, the influence of Hollywood, and the spread of the internet and social media have all contributed to the dominance of English on the world stage. Today, English is spoken by over 1.5 billion people worldwide, either as a first or second language. It is the language of science, business, technology, and international diplomacy.